you somehow aren't aware, I have been building my very own custom theme park in Planet Coaster 2, with all the different rides and roller coasters that I dream of being a reality. From huge Greek-themed roller coasters to Viking and now steampunk. Because in the last episode, we made a lot of progress on the brand new steampunk-themed area. And in this episode, I have finished it. So we're going to be having a look around the entire area, naming all of the different rides that aren't yet named, showing you a brand new ride that I've made, and also giving you a POV of that tilt coaster, finally. Sorry for the wait. I've just taken a long time to finish it. But guess what's taking you a long time to do if you haven't already? Subscribing. If you aren't already, please subscribe now. But with that being said, welcome back to the series and welcome to episode 9. Yes, 9 episodes in. Absolutely crazy. I feel like we're still on episode 1, and I also feel like we're on episode 45. So I don't really know where the time frame of this project has gone in my head. But welcome back. We are building the steampunk themed area, of course, as I said in the intro. And this little time-lapse footage here is of the Zamperla nebulae. However you say that, I still haven't found out since the last time I said that. But as you can see, we're going for a lot of sort of gears and, you know, sort of just machine-looking theming, more so than anything else with this one. Of course, we have Cognition, which is the tilt coaster. That's obviously based a lot on cogs and gears as well. So we've got a definite theme going on with the main area, which is going to have a name next episode, because I haven't decided on a name yet. And I know I've been asking a lot for other ride names, not the area name. But this is your chance. If you have any area names, leave them in the comments. I'd love to see them. Some of the name ideas you guys have come up with are amazing. A lot better than any I could think of, as you'll see later on. Because, again, we have Cognition in the back. We now have a name for the Intimate Impulse boomerang-style coaster. And we have a name for these two, Zamperla Nebulas. Yep, whatever. I did just call that a clockwork-themed nebulas there, but obviously it's more, there's no clocks. How is it clockwork themed if there's no clocks? I'm so stupid. But what I was actually thinking with this ride originally was to make it clockwork themed, but there's not a lot of sort of theming that goes with that that's in the game. So I sort of wanted to keep the cogs and gears style from Cognition, as said, once again, and just go for that around this area here, because of course we've got the waterworks section, the steamworks section over where the Intimate Impulse is, and now we have just the rest of the area being themed to cogs. And you'll see that with the other dark ride that I have put in. It's a very unique take on a dark ride, I feel. It wasn't actually my idea. One of my mates had a very good idea of doing this, and I'll talk about that more when we actually get to building that. But really happy with how that came out as well. I'm happy with everything, it sounds like. I think every single time I say that phrase of, I'm so happy with this, I just hate myself. Why do I keep saying it? I need to go on a thesaurus and look up alternate ways to say every single word in that sentence so I can just not be boring. Here we go, the queue line is going in now. A few people had a very good suggestion with this. If you don't remember when I first built these Zamperla Nebulae, I'm just going to say that for plural, I don't know what the actual one is. I did make the queue lines just wrap around. They both sort of started where that gate is, but they both split off and went around the back of both the different rides, and I didn't really like it because, you know, you've got two of the same ride there. They count as the same ride, it's just two for throughput. Why am I having two separate queue lines? Because there's going to be guests that will ride one and not the other, because they don't understand it, because this game can sometimes be a bit silly. So what I've decided to do is just leave the pathway, no queue line or whatever, all the way up until you reach the back of that where the queue line should start, and then it will split off into the two different sections, and it does work quite well. I tested out with guests. That's the only time I've ever opened this park, which a little bit more about that later on. I literally just let guests in to check the flow is correct. There you go, there's the tiny queues going in. Just check the flow's correct, check the queue lines work, check that they're not getting stuck anywhere, that sort of thing. I know the Viking area had a lot of issues with people getting stuck, and obviously I didn't show that on camera, but I did sort that all out eventually. Even after the new update, guests couldn't get in the entrance of the park. Can you imagine in the next episode when I open this park up for the first time, guests just stood there and were like, what's going on? Wouldn't have been fun, but that is right. going to be opening this park for the first time ever next episode. I thought, we're on episode 10. This one's episode 9. Episode 10, we finished 3 main areas of the park. We have a massive area right at the front that still needs to be done, which I'll talk about later. And obviously many different areas at the back and everything like that. But we have 3 major areas done completely. Why would I not open this park to guests now? So yeah, we're going to be opening the park next episode, and I'm very excited about that. I'm also excited for the fact I am going to be naming the park next episode as well. I have an idea for a name, but if any of you have any final suggestions for a park name, get them down below. I think I'm going to go with my one because I think it's the only time I will get to decide on a name, and I thought of a pretty good one. But yeah, if you have any suggestions, any that I see that I do think, oh yeah, that's actually really cool, suits the park, and then I'll go for that. But I have one in mind, so we'll see what that is next episode. Here's the dark ride going in now. As you can tell, it's not really a dark ride, it's a flat ride. So a good friend of mine, Robert, did come up with the idea of putting a flat ride in the dark instead. Much like, I guess, there's one at Groenland, I think. There's like a break dance that's indoors and it's like all smoke and like all that stuff. Loads of different lights. And not that that was the inspiration for this, but to have an indoor flat ride act as a dark ride, I think is quite cool. And that dark ride right there, see, I'm literally calling it a dark ride, not a flat ride already. That ride itself right there is very sort of, you know, rotatory based. So again, is that even a word, rotatory? You know what I mean, rotation based. So you'll see with the name later on, that is what I've gone for with that theme as well. Theme to cogs and gears again. Would you believe it? But as you can see, the queue line is being started now. I decided to start this quite early on, as you do with anything, because queue lines are important for a ride. They can't go on it without the queue. What am I on about? But the main bit of this queue actually works itself up around the top of that cognition sort of final turn into the final inversion. Thought I might as well stick that there. And then I also had to route an exit, which was quite difficult to do because obviously there's a lot of theming around already, and I wasn't expecting to make a huge ride of that sort of scale in that building. My original idea was an Omni Mover, which I'll probably explain in a future episode why I haven't made it in this area, because I want to save it for a future area. That's all I'll say, because I think steampunk, as much as it would be quite cool on an Omni Mover style ride, I don't want to waste that use of a ride. I know I can have more than one, but I don't want to waste that use of that ride on the steampunk when I have such a good idea for another theme. So I'm going to leave it for now. Got a very cool idea right here of that flat ride in the dark. Thought I'd use it for the steampunk area, and as you can see, a lot of warehouse building going on. Nothing too exciting, just building all the black walls, because you can tell from underneath the main coaster indoor section still wasn't done at this point. So I had a lot of work to do, and it was a lot of fun to do actually. Eventually it has become a bit tedious building this steampunk area, because some of the walls especially were very much copy paste, like what can I do here, what can I do there. Coming up with ideas was a little bit difficult as well, but we got there in the end, and I am very happy with how it turned out. But talking of tedious, this ride itself had a very tedious problem that came with it, and that was trying to make this sort of, I don't know, circular room around it. Obviously, if you remember seeing me build the teacups ride in the Viking area, I managed to build that circular room quite easily, but I think I messed up the dimensions on this one, so as you can see, it's very botched job. But with it being inside and very dark inside, and obviously it's an engine room, as I'm going to call that sort of area of the ride, I feel like I can get away with it. So as long as the walls are all themed up nicely, they might be a little bit off place with each other. They might not be perfect in dimensions or anything. I think it does look nice. I don't think it looks wrong anymore. At first it really did, because the way the walls were lining up was just completely out of like place. But now it looks fine, and I'm, you know, working towards making it more themed with those pipes, some things on the walls, things there blocking people from going around that side of the ride, because there are ramps on either side. I know guests in this game are still going to use both ramps, but I don't care. I wanted to block them off, because that one towards the front, you enter there and you exit off the other side. So what's the point in using the other ramp on the other side of the ride? It's just inefficient. And this park is about efficiency, isn't it? Some more like doors going in, and then we should put the roof back on very soon to sort of work the lighting. There you go, perfect timing. And I actually realised I had to double layer the roof because I think the corrugated iron that I was using or something didn't work properly because one layer of it seeped in loads of natural light. So that was fun. I could have literally just used any other piece in the game. I don't even know what piece that is that I used for the roof. I could have used any other piece and it would have been fine off that one roof tiling. But I had to put 2 layers in because why not? Lights going in. Very simple lighting. I'm going to make it go round with the ride, so start flashing and everything. Still haven't really done too many like effects like that in this park so far, but the last time I tried to, I don't know, it didn't work properly. So hopefully this time it does. And then I'm adding some cogs, of course, to the ride itself. The rotation thing was working really strangely. Again, that's the only really time I've used that was the Ride to Happiness trains and some of the ones in this area that I'm building. Let's go into real time to see that and the completed area. You join me here once again at the entrance of the park, and as you can see, this is going to look a lot different next episode. Well, it's probably going to look the exact same, but a lot more going on once we've named the park and opened it, because there'll be floods of guests coming in. But as we walk down here, we've got some gears and cogs moving in the ceiling. Very much reminds me of the steampunk themed area. And walking in, you've got a very heavily finished left-hand side and a very heavily unfinished right-hand side. There is so much to do over here. That green wall won't exist at some point. It'll be all covered up with loads of theming. It'll look normal, I promise. The mechanics, once again, enjoying their day working here at Unnamed Custom Park 1. But as we progress upwards, of course, this will have the area's name on it, this massive entrance area. It'll be themed towards this sort of lakeside bit, so it won't be out of place. But then you will transport yourself through here into the steampunk area. And there we go. There it is. This view never gets old, by the way. I absolutely love it. And the spike. I don't know how I managed to centralize the tilt coaster so much, even though I built it in a random place. I don't get how I've done it, but it worked well, as did the whole layout. As you can see, vertical loop there, right by the Zamperla Nebulas. There it goes. All the walls are now done. There's so many cool different things moving around, like cogs again. Water features and everything. Like, there's so much going on. But let's delve into this area a little bit more. And first of all, we're going to go for the name of the Intamin Impulse Coaster. You can see it right here with the main spike of the ride. The name is Viva I've gone for, and that was by Extra Cubic 4123, because the name itself sounds really cool, and also the story sort of linkage to the area and the name of the fact that it's like a steam generator, but at the same time it's like nuclear power plant based, and like it's very like a steampunky version of that. I really like that name, and thank you so much for suggesting it, Viva. We did POV that in the previous episode, so if you want to see that, then go and watch that, or subscribe to my second channel on screen right now, because I'm uploading all the POVs separately on there, because why not? If we head over to this side of the area, of course, the massive vertical loop of Cognition, we'll be riding that later on, and we have over here Ratchet and Clank. Now, obviously, if you know and you've played PlayStation games or whatever, you will know there is literally a game and a film now called Ratchet and Clank. But David Codling 1283 did suggest that name, and I just love it. I think the fact that there's 2 different versions, and as much as they are the exact same ride, maybe I could make one a bit more orange, one a bit more silver. I want to do that now, actually. I do think it's really cool to go through this queue line and be able to decide which side you're going on, and it doesn't really matter which side you go on because they're the same experience, but, you know, they're both different enough to also ride both. But enthusiasts probably wouldn't, because they'd notice they're the same thing. But yeah, Ratchet and Clank, Viva, and Cognition. But there is another ride, of course, that we built that I need to go and show you the name of. And I did say I would build a dark ride entrance here, and I've used it as one, and I've called the ride Rotarium, a suggestion by a good friend of mine, Dive Drop. So thank you so much for that. And yeah, there goes Cognition above. I do actually need to show you over there as well because I've done a lot. But let's have a look at Rotarium first. You've got some nice rotating fans behind the entrance sign and obviously a rotating sort of machine in there. Very much showing what the ride does once you go through the queue line and then you see it right here. It very much looks like the thing at the entrance could easily be powering this ride to spin round, and with how dark the queue line is and the area you're in anyway, I think you definitely could get away with it looking like that's what's powering the ride. But yeah, I think it could be a little bit darker in here, but I purely think that's because of these lights that you can't get rid of, which is really sad. And I do think this came out a lot better than I thought it would, purely because, I don't know, this flat ride just didn't look like it was going to be much to this area, and now it fits in pretty much perfectly. So, yeah. Glad I did this. And once you've had your ride on Rotarium, you come out to this view of the area. Again, unsure how I've managed to sort of make this many good viewpoints, but yeah, I'm not changing this. Because another good viewpoint I worked on a lot in the first episode was the viewpoint from the Viking area when you transition in, and there you go. Again, direct center of that little alleyway. I don't know how I've managed it. But over here, actually, I forgot to press record, so that's why you didn't see that being built stupidly. There is a nice seating area with like a restaurant inside, and then you go down here, some nice little like alleyway, short bits of pathway, very thin, so you can just explore the whole area, and there's loads of bits that like you can get really cool views of, like that. I've had to put like a little cover on because otherwise you'll get hit by flying belongings, although no one should have them on them. But talking of all the different views of the ride itself, I think we should take a ride on it because we haven't yet. This is the only ride in the park that I haven't POV'd yet. So I POV'd the Spike coaster, but not this. When this came first, it just took longer to build. Let's go and POV it. But as you can see, the front car of the train has a nice cog spinning, and you know, it's sort of just, it's a bit basic. It's not very good, but I think it adds a little bit to the front car. And here we go then, out of the station. We've got the cog spinning there, very similar to the one at the top of the lift. And then we go here. The cogs open the door for us, and we ascend the lift hill. We take the left turn. I'm going to put a cover there when the new area comes in towards the back. And here we go into that tilt coaster drop. You don't really find these very often on old gen track vekomas like this one. Do wish we had the new gen one, but it's okay. I do like the fact we have a new gen vekoma in the Greek area and an old gen one here in the steampunk. But here we go. You can see the oblivion-like hole beneath with the mist pouring out, some smoke as well. And eventually when it lines up, we'll set off. And there we go. Off we go. Down into the pits. Into that first inversion. I don't even know what you'd call that. And then we go into a nice overbank. There was a head chopper there, but you couldn't really see it. And then into the vertical loop. Some water actually sprouts up from underneath whilst we go up that vertical loop. And then we go into the dark ride sections. Some flashing lights. And then this brake run, we have a door right at the end. A very simple effect. It looks like you're going to go in the door, but you don't. You go underneath it. And then we make our way back outside. There's that jittering I'm talking about. It's so frustrating. I don't know why it's doing it. Then we go down into another airtime hill. And then into the final sections of the ride in the dark. Got some cogs spinning on the top of the brake run. And then right there's some cogs coming towards us, which I quite like that effect. And some stuff going on there, some spinning ones. Then we turn around here. Some more cogs spinning again. It's called Cognition. It had to have loads of cogs. And there you go. Got a transfer track right there. Forgot to say about that. And into the offload station in just a second. There you go. Into the offload here. I absolutely love how this steampunk area turned out, and I'm very excited to see the future of this park from this point onwards. Because as much as the steampunk area is probably the smallest area out of them all so far, I think it's probably the most detailed one. And I love it for that. And over here we have an area that I'm going to be starting in the next episode to then open the park with, and also the massive expansion. You can see a line for where I'm planning to put the next one right there, but I'll talk about that next time. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that next episode, and thank you for watching.